Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're doing a box office preview for this upcoming weekend, which is a very weird weekend. I mean, we are now a week out from Halloween, and so obviously a lot of people's minds and focus are kind of on that, especially as we are eventually going to be moving into the month of November, getting closer to Thanksgiving. Really, the next major film release that's going to have any splash at the box office in any significant way is probably going to be Zootopia 2, so we've got a long way to go until that point, and a lot of smaller releases that are probably not going to be doing that much at the box office. But this is probably one of the weirder weekends because not only do we have a concert film from Bruce Springsteen, of all, again, interestingly there, we then also have a anime from Crunchyroll in Chainsaw Man, and then there's also a romantic movie with two younger actors called Regretting You. I think it's by the same person that actually did one of the films from last year that's caused a lot of controversy. It Ends With Us, specifically. Yeah, actually, apparently Colleen Hoover, who authored the original novel of Regretting You, and as a source material for It Ends With Us, which of course has caused all kinds of craziness with Blake Lively and the lawsuits against her and the lawsuits she's filing back and forth. It's just, again, it's kind of just a crazy weekend for films and also just for properties, but it's also just that reminder that, yeah, Hollywood just does not really have a lot of things going on for it right now, and it's not looking like it's going to get all that much better this weekend, despite the fact that we do have at least a few films that are going to maybe get in the double digits, which is something that has not happened too often, it seems, with newer releases. But yeah, let's go ahead and just dive right into it. According to Box Office Theory, they think the Springsteen film is going to take the number one spot with over $16 million. That's Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. You then also have the second film expected to be Chainsaw Man. This is a film that has a range right now of 9.5 to 13. This is interesting because if you go over to Box Office Pro, as we all know, Box Office Pro usually gets their numbers out early, and they usually miss things. They usually, whenever there's like newer releases or special releases like these ones that have been coming out from Crunchyroll, for instance, especially with the animes, they tend to leave them out just, again, for whatever reason. So they don't even have that film listed in their top three. For them, they think Regretting You is going to be the film that's going to kind of, take off. Obviously, last year, It Ends With Us was able to do that, partly because the marketing was very deceptive, even though if you actually paid attention to the marketing, it was very clear it was not meant to be a romantic movie, let alone a romantic comedy. They definitely leaned into that quite a bit. That's part of what I think the lawsuit is too with Blake Lively, is that she wanted it to be promoted in this way, whereas the director's like, that's not really what the story is about. It's actually much more about like abusive situations and such like that. So it's like, should we really be going in that direction, trying to just sell more tickets by also being very, disingenuous about that. So this one, at the very least, again, it's the same author of Regretting You, of It Ends With Us. So I actually don't know a whole lot about the source material here, but based on the trailers at the very least, this definitely does seem to be a little bit more focused on the romantic side of things. And we actually have a little bit of a thing. It says the story revolves around the fallout of lead character Morgan, played by Allison Williams, discovering her husband was having an affair with her sister after the two of them are killed in a car crash together. So, again, very happy times, it seems. The B plot focuses on Morgan's daughter, Clara, and her blossoming high school romance with Miller. These are McKenna Grace. She, of course, is probably most well known by most people for the Ghostbusters films as of late. Again, kind of just crazy that she has gotten just, it's always weird when you see actors, and especially child actors who you're used to seeing play that child actor role, and now they're playing this other role, which you're like, wait a minute, this just like, how old are you now? It's just kind of crazy how quickly these things happen in this way. But also you have, of course, someone that most of us probably do recognize, the Black Phone 2, for instance, just recently came out, and that is Mason. Is it Mason Thames or is it Mason Thames or Mason Thames? Like the River Thames? I don't know. But anyway, very talented young actor though in Mason, and so he's playing the character of Miller. And then it, as says here, it comes from Josh Boone, who directed The Fault in Our Stars, which is again one of those films where it's a tragedy, but then also too there is a romance in it. So this could definitely be a film based off of the two young actors, and also based on that story that a lot of the female audience especially is probably going to very much want to go see and very much want to bring their boyfriends to and everything like that. Again, I could see this film taking off a little bit, so it's not surprising to see this film at the number one spot for Box Office Pro, but again, they are leaving off a pretty important one. Then they have, after that, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. So based on their range, they think it might be a competition between those two films. And then Black Phone 2 2's second weekend, $10 to $14 million there. But Box Office Theory usually has things, going for it pretty well. Regretting You, they're tracking it between $8.5 to $13.5 million. So again, it'll be interesting to see whether it's able to take off. If it's get good reviews, I think that could definitely help with it quite a bit. But then Chainsaw Man is kind of that X factor, right? That anime audience is not the largest here in the United States, but they do show up that opening weekend for a lot of these properties. And so I don't know much about Chainsaw Man. I'm sure a lot of you in the comments are going to tell me all about it because there's a lot of anime fans, of course, out there. But I did want to mention it because it is, of course, being mentioned here. And then Springsteen is the number one film listed in Box Office Theory, but he only has it around 16 million or more. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but not to the same heights as Box Office Pro. Going over to Box Office Report, they are having very similar numbers here, except not nearly as hot on the Springsteen film, right? So Chainsaw Man, they think, is going to take the number one spot with 17 million at Black Phone 2's second weekend, dropping 53%. It's very similar here to what we saw on Box Office Theory as well. They are also projecting a 55% drop for Black Phone 2. So based just off of the reaction to the movie and its opening weekend, that's actually not a terrible drop-off for its second weekend to drop in the 50% range. It's pretty standard. For a horror film, probably not one of the better ones out there, to be honest, as far as drops are concerned. But because the film didn't cost all that much money, I think that we could probably end up seeing that this film will probably end up making some money back, maybe even make a little bit of profit. Not going to be nearly as successful as the first film, and just having seen the movie myself, I can say, yeah, I really like the first film a lot more. I definitely think there are a lot of really good things and cool elements to this new one. They try to go in a lot of really cool directions, but I definitely also think it kind of succumbs to the modern Hollywood narrative, and then also it just, again, tries to do a little bit too much and is a little bit inconsistent, it feels like, in the storytelling of how the rules of their universe work, which is, again, something that I can, oftentimes take issues with. It was one of the issues I had with Weapons, for instance. The rules of the world, of the universe, how they work, really weren't established well, and so it's hard to really, buy into things going on, and when you don't even know if it's following any rules that have been established overall. But anyway, Black Phone 2, 53% is what the projected drop is for Box Office Reports. Then they have Springsteen at 11.2 million. That's the biggest difference, is that they don't think the film's going to get the number one spot. So Springsteen, or is it going to be anime? Again, Chainsaw Man versus Springsteen. Not the battle that you would expect to have happened, but this is where we are at the box office right now. Springsteen documentary is going to be going up against Chainsaw. That's just where it is. Regretting You, 11.1, so they're also not thinking that film's going to do that much there. Tron Ares still dropping off like a cliff. That film is donezo. Good Fortune dropping 51%, not the worst of the world, but had a very low opening, so not much there. And then you've got, of course, the new Chris Stuckman movie. That's right, his film that's been in development for years, was picked up by Neon. Mike Flanagan got involved as like an executive producer. So, clearly the the selling out that Chris Stuckman did, and I will call him out for that, because let's be honest, we all know that once he decided to stop doing his top worst films of the year list, and he started to say, I'm not going to criticize movies anymore, I'm just going to say positive things, it was all just a ploy to try to make nice with Hollywood, to make nice with filmmakers, so that he could get his movie made. And again, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess, but at the same time, I don't think that was the best way to do it, because he kind of basically said, yeah, all my fans out there, all the people that have supported me for years because of the content that I've made, yeah, basically, screw you, I'm gonna do my own thing. There's a lot of other things, too, that I have issues with, but ultimately, Shelby Oaks, congratulations for making the movie. Again, not a lot of us can say that we have made a movie, so I've obviously got to give some credit there, but $2.9 million is what that film is expected to make. Because the film's budget is not really all that high, this could very well be an early sign that it could, make some money back, maybe even make a little bit of profit. But based on the early reviews I've heard that, again, there's a lot of really cool things in there, but that it's also very derivative of a lot of other films, and that the ending does not really land in a very consistent way. So again, if you happen to see Shelby Oaks, let me know. It's definitely on my list of things that I'm interested in checking out, just so that, again, I have to have an opinion on it. I have to be able to see it. One battle after another still dropping off, and Roofman still dropping off as well. Going back over to Box Office Theory, again, for them, Shelby Oaks around 2.5 million is what they are projecting. Similar drops in other areas for these other films. Regretting You, they don't have nearly as high as some of the other ones out there too either. And then you also have a new film from Focus, Begonia. Again, don't really know a whole much about that one. Let's go over the charts because we love charts here on OMB Reviews. And so, as I mentioned before, the Black Phone 2 expected to have a decent hold in its second weekend. So I do think that we either will see the film get pretty close to breaking even this weekend. At the very least, we'll be able to make some profit down the line. If I had to make any guesses now, once those international numbers come in, again, not going to be the biggest international film in the world, but obviously that does, every little bit helps, as it were. So we'll probably be able to make some of those projections on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see that. Also, I'll have my full article over on geeksandgamers.com. Make sure to check that out also. Tron Ares, still a massive, catastrophic failure. And keep in mind, right, that when it comes to the budgets, when it comes to the marketing, right, this $218 million loss as of right now is based off of what they have reported. We all know, again, their marketing is typically a lot higher. Their budgets are also usually underreported. So, yeah, we're still talking about some massive, catastrophic losses for Disney when it comes to Tron Ares. Roofman, not looking all that much better. Smashing Machine, still a flop. Strangers, still not quite there. And then all the other films are pretty much consistent where they have been, with, again, films like One Battle After Another being one of the bigger flops of the year, amongst many others. So those are the numbers as they stand. Let me know your thoughts about any of these films I mentioned, or any of the films I maybe didn't mention, in the comment section down below. Obviously, I don't have in my charting here yet some of the newer films, because when it comes to the animes, they're usually not that expensive. Japan and Japanese production is usually pretty good about spending things. This is Springsteen Delivering from Nowhere is a Disney film, $55 million budget. Oh boy. That might be another loss for Disney, depending on, again, if the Springsteen fans show up, maybe that makes a bit of a difference. That seems pretty high for the kind of movie that it seems to be. And usually when it comes to the animes also, they usually don't have budgets listed for this movie. So let's go ahead and see if there's anything here listed for this film. No, just the actual raw box office for the film. So not one of the bigger animes out there, but still doing okay. And then we'll also go ahead and, just because we like to do things live here in OMB Reviews, helps me stay honest. Let's see if we have anything as far as the film Regretting You. A $30 million budget. So again, a pretty modest budget, to be honest. But again, this really comes down to whether or not it makes, on the lower end, $10.9 million, or if it is able to, do a little bit better and, make upwards of almost the $20 million being projected by Box Office Pro. So if it's able to kind of break through the zeitgeist, be able to get some of the people's attention, drive out that younger audience, drive out especially the female demographic, it could definitely have some money down the line. But as of right now, jury is still out. It's still too early to tell. But let me know your thoughts about these things and anything else I mentioned in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button. Make sure you also smash the rumble button as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful rest of your day. A blessed Friday. And as always, God bless. And now let me give a shout out to all of my Chosen of Valhalla members, starting off first with my Patreon members, Father Luca Illich, hail to you, Father, and also to Miss Martin Muses. Check out her YouTube channel by the same name, Miss Martin Muses. She is very lovely, great, awesome Catholic faith-based content over there. You'll also find over on Subscribestar my member Matt317. He is on Twitch with the same channel name, Matt317. Shout out to you, good sir. And also to a longtime member here, Mr. Roy, my Chosen of Valhalla member here on YouTube. Mr. Roy, thank you for always hanging out and for always being a part of this channel. It does mean a lot, as well as it does for all of my Chosen of Valhalla members. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream or video, or if you want it listed in that list that was playing just before, just now, check out the top link in the video description below. You'll find out how to get those types of shout outs at the end of every live stream and video. Not to mention, you get access to bonus video content and also access to a Discord server where there are a couple of channels on there where I do giveaways every single month. In fact, I do multiple giveaways every single single month. I try to make it so that I'm giving away Blu-rays and 4Ks that make up at least 4 or 5 different giveaways. Sometimes I have to put them in all towards the very end because back in the school session, of course, now means that I'm going to be a little bit more delayed there. So if you want access to things like that, if you want access to a great community, you guys seriously are all amazing and beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.